last question for you, and I'll also use this as kind of a question into if there is something that you wanted to talk about, but we didn't get a chance to cover, and you can use that as a way to potentially frame your answer. But my question is, what do you think chefs can be doing better to help the next generation?
I mean, I think to a certain extent, we've already seen a certain sea change. And I don't know if that's what chefs are doing so much as what their employees are doing. I mean, I've seen a easily identifiable, if not measurable, difference in the way that back of house staff thinks of themselves and thinks of their ability to voice objections to a variety of problems in the industry. 10 years ago, it was unthinkable, and 5 years ago, there was maybe murmurs. What I'm finding today is that a lot of young people, they're just not going to put up with the shit. 5 or 10 years ago, that same cohort thought they had to because of the inertia of change, because of that mentality of this is the way things are, they're not going to change. Younger people just seem more aware of their legal rights and of their power. When I was starting as a writer, I was writing for this alt weekly, and this boss, in a manner that doesn't really bear relevance here, was taking advantage of me. Was kind of screwing me over, and I didn't know what to do about it. And I talked to this other editor, and he said, it doesn't really matter how this one goes. You just need to know you have more power than you think. And if you speak up, I know you're afraid. Like if you object to this, you'll never work again. This person won't hire you, and they'll tell other people not to hire you. But I just need you to know you're talented and hardworking, and you're just at the beginning of your career, and you shouldn't be afraid to stand up and say what's right or wrong. And you haven't been in this career long enough to know what industry norms are or what's right or wrong. And I don't want you to walk away from this experience thinking that this is normal. It's not. It's not okay. And however you handle it, just know you have more power than you think. And he was right about that. And of course, I was too afraid to say anything, and I let myself get taken advantage of. But I learned the lesson in the long term, and I learned that he was right. And I see so many young cooks who already know that now. And partly, that's a real sort of revolution in youth culture that's taken place over the last couple of years, where people are just not fearing the repercussions. Part of that has to do with like strength in numbers and people realizing that like they can stand up for their political beliefs and not fear that it's going to ostracize them, because actually a lot of people, particularly people their age, believe the same things. And also, they all found themselves out of work initially during the pandemic, and then suddenly, in both Canada and the United States, like had government supports that at least prevented people from being homeless or hungry. And for many young people, or for many people not so young, and people in their 30s, found themselves not having to be in that work environment, not having to work 12 hours a day, not having to have their physical and mental time devoted to that one thing for the first time in a decade for many people. And many people just kind of like had a mental break from it and went, oh, right, I don't have to do this thing, but also don't have to think that way. So people are standing up for their rights. People are advocating for change. People are forming sort of ad hoc, not unions, but sort of worker advocacy groups and saying, like, how can we make these changes in our workplaces? And how chefs can change is just listening, right? Just listening, letting go first of their social power, first of the idea like that the chef is their sort of parental figure and the staff are their children. And then after that, letting go of some of the actual power, right? The chart, the hierarchy chart. I think that's bare bones. I don't think we're going to nationalize restaurants. I've talked to restaurateurs who are converting to an employee ownership model, which is great. I don't think too many places are going to do that. But cooks in a room that is working super hard, where everybody's super talented, and everyone's feeling like crap because they're treated badly, those people know, and if they don't, they need to know they could all walk out the door and get a job across the street tonight because they are so much in demand. So they don't have to put up with that crap. And, the one thing chefs can do right now, like if they could do one thing that doesn't cost them anything, is just facing that truth. They no longer have a monopoly on their guru status and control over the young people who were flooding into kitchens post-recession and post sort of 5 or 10 years of Food Network feeding them recruits. And they're no longer getting the same people in the same volume. So they can just sort of face those facts and saying they have to change or they're going to be out of their ass.
Amen.